Hello, welcome to Reality Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor. And guys, I know it's a bit late on my part. I'm recording this Saturday morning, probably going to upload this Saturday night. But this is the Big Brother Canada 9 finale. I got a little busier than I thought I would, so I ended up being a little bit behind the ball getting this uploaded. But what a finale it ended up becoming. And after this, we're done. Like I feel like I've been covering this forever, but in a good way. And it's weird that, come tomorrow, there will be no more Big Brother Canada 9 to discuss. There will only pretty much be the Challenge All-Stars and the Rewind podcasts that I do here. So, the time and until, Big Brother 23 drops, I'm wide open for a while, which is great. Maybe I'll get caught up on syndicated vomit. So we start out, of course, it's Big Brother Canada. We always get a big cinematic opening. And that's I love, one of the main things I love about Big Brother Canada, their editing, is the openings of the episodes, because it's always so goddamn cinematic and just fun. And if you're just someone flipping through the channels and you just happen to catch the beginning of this, it's hype. You're like, I don't know what this is, but I need to watch it right now. So I'm glad they really do put the work into that, because like I said, big American Big Brother, that's one thing that they kind of lack, is some presentation. It's all just, the standard stuff, copy paste stuff, Big Brother US, let's up our fucking production quality. Okay. And also, this is a very interesting and unique final three. I think more than we've seen in a long time, because all three of these people have played incredibly different games. You have Tara, who played very messy at the start, ended up really just kind of antagonizing Ty and Jed, and just was, besides Tina and Keith, was very not well liked for a while. And then something happened where Tina gets evicted and Tara just comes alive as this underdog and takes the shot at Jed, gets evicted, beats Jed in a competition, wins her way back, and actually scratches and claws her way to the end here. And, at the start of the season, or about midway, I really wasn't all in on Tina or Tara. I love Tina, but Tara, I was like, she's not going to win. I don't really think she's that great of a person. And then I was rooting for her to get here, because she had the fight in her, and she many a times we'll see people in Big Brother just kind of give up. They're just kind of like, well, this is my fate. And Tara never did that. Tara was always like, I'm going to get through to the next week. And I can really appreciate that from her. Then you have Brayden, who for the first, for the pre-jury, was pretty much only with Austin and really not doing much in the way of his own game. But once Austin was evicted, Bray flipped the switch of I gotta make social bonds. I've got to spread it out here, or else I'm gonna be picked off soon. And he made the bond with the throuple. Originally it was Beth who brought him in, but it was Ty who he would ultimately fall in sync with. And throughout Ty taking the shots at the rest of the Sunsetters, Bray was a part of that, and he was in on all those plans. And that so we saw someone doing absolutely nothing. And Bray's main point that's got him here is his social ability. So you have Tara, who's had to be the scrappy underdog. You have Bray, who's literally one of the greater social players I've seen in a while. And then you have Ty, who, the whole game has played actively and has pretty much been in control. He's never touched the block. He was in the Sunsetters, which dominated a majority of the game. He let Jed and Beth and Kiefer be the bigger targets in front of him. And when it was time to cut them, he cut them. So you have someone who's actively played and controlled a good portion of the game, someone that had to play an incredible amount of defense, and someone who had to just try to blend into the background. but everyone was actively doing something. No one was furniture this season. The person I think who did the least this season was Austin. And even then, she still tried things. She just did them poorly. So what a season Big Brother Canada 9 has been and ended here with. So I just wanted to take a moment to point that out of just how really incredible this final three is compared to what we normally get in Big Brother seasons. Also, Arissa, I don't talk about Arissa Cox enough on these podcasts. One, she is absolutely gorgeous. Her dress was fire on the finale. I thought she looked amazing, and she always takes a moment in the episode to talk about, how the Indigenous peoples of Canada and giving them their shout out and love, and about the diverse cast, and just it can never be said enough just how good of a host Arissa Cox is, and maybe just how good of a person Arissa Cox is. And that's why, she gets so much love, deservedly, because she is the queen of Big Brother hosting, in my opinion. So then we get part one of the 3-part finale competitions, where they have like this skateboard you slide back and forth. And it's kind of like the apple cart video, where you slide, you can put 5 discs on at a time and slide back and then start piling on. And you have to get up to 60 discs, and you have 4 hours, which sounds like a lot of time. But when you're having to go really slow, because the discs are sitting on are like this big. So you got these big ass discs on this little thing. So you have to pretty much stack them perfectly, or they're just going to fall over. And if you stop too fast or you move too fast, they're going to fall over. Like Bray says in the confessional, an object in motion wants to stay in motion. That is literally physics. So you have to, be aware of this, and it's hard. And it was probably even harder than I thought it was watching. So the 4 hours does run out. So they drop it down to 40 discs, and they can get 10 discs at a time. And it actually is fairly close, but it is going to be Braden that ends up winning this part of the competition and will advance to the third and final part, meaning Ty and Tara will battle it out in part 2. Good on Bray. Like I said, he really came alive in the end game. Really how a lot of people say you should play Big Brother and Survivor, like go to sleep in the beginning, come alive at jury, and really start winning comps at the end. He did that. If you want to talk about just a decent template to copy a game off of, to have, the highest statistic to go as far as possible, Braden's game is probably the most going to give you the most results. So then we get the Light 'em Up part 2, which will be Ty versus Tara, where it's a triangle, which of course they made a triangle for a competition that Ty is going to be a part of. And it has it's like the days questions, but they have a bunch of days lined up, and you have to knock off the ones that aren't correct, and there could be more than one correct answer. So I thought that was a very interesting way to do that, because it's not just, answering questions about the days. There's a twist of having to have your aim be good as you knock off the right ones. And some of the questions were pretty complicated. Like one was, I think I wrote one down. And Tara really, one is not a great shot, which is understandable. She's not an athlete. And also there was one question that she knew, all but one of the blocks were correct, but she didn't know which one. So she had to kind of trial and error, knock one at a time down and see which one was correct. So she lost a lot of time there. And Ty seemed to do fairly well, although there was a couple times he accidentally knocked off the right answer and had to reset it. But he ended up doing fairly well, and it is going to be Ty that walks out with the win. Of course, Ty wins the triangle competition, and because he won the triangle in the game. So Ty advances to part 3 to face Braden, meaning Tara. And at this point, Tara knew when she evicted Kiefer, or at least I hope she would know, that she probably had to win this final HOH to go to the end of the game, because Kiefer would have taken Tara, I believe. And if she'd evicted Braden, I think Ty would have taken Tara over Kiefer. So she went from having, like I said, that was the problem. Evicting Kiefer was a big move and was someone she could not absolutely beat in the end. But in evicting him, she had to win the final HOH to guarantee that she was going to go to the final two. She did not win the final HOH and therefore is pretty much done at this point because Bray is going to take Ty and Ty is going to take Bray. So, like I said, it was a risk, and I can't, obviously in hindsight now, it wasn't maybe not the best move, but Ty still could have won this final HOH, and Tara would have gone to the end and probably lost. But like I said, it was a gamble, but it's hard to say if it would have been the right move, right? And so Ty talks about wanting to have an all African-American final two, and would be great since it's the most diverse cast in the history of Big Brother. Let's make not only Big Brother Canada history, but Big Brother history, to my knowledge, and have an all African-American final two. That would be great for representation, and I'm all for it. And also, Ty was going to take Bray anyway because they had made a bond, back when they were taking the shot at Jed. So, that was always going to be his final two anyway, but also it's best for his game and can shine a light for diversity and their communities. And that's great. And that's awesome. And, he's always great when you can check those boxes. But there was a funny moment in the triangle competition where Ty was like, what does unanimous, not unanimous means? So what do you mean, Ty? It means when the vote wasn't unanimous. It means when there were, different people voting, like, when both nominees got votes, like, and he's like, oh yeah, Julie's wasn't unanimous. I'm like, yeah, because Julie got to vote when she was evicted. So of course it wasn't unanimous. And Vic voted out Josh in that moment too. Which, I think the first eviction should be the most prevalent in your mind because that was like a huge moment. So then we see Anthony Poutine Poppy, the great white shark, is going to sit with the jury. And I think that's a great choice, because then obviously the American version gets Dr. Will, which I think we should really update that. Not to say that Will wasn't a great player, but I think the U.S. needs to get someone a little more knowledgeable of how the game is played nowadays. Maybe even like a Dan Giesling, or even a Derek Levasseur, or just someone who's played a little bit more of the modern version. Because Will, the last time Will played was Big Brother 7. That was a long time ago. But Anthony, great choice. He was on the last full season of Big Brother Canada. And granted, he never was part of a jury. He is a pretty key player as far as people we remember from Big Brother Canada. Vic obviously drooling over him. A lot of the girls do. It's Poutine Poppy, of course. And Vic shades Beth a little bit here at the jury, but I think everyone shades Beth. The online community shades Beth. It's just overall something that people like to do. I myself have enjoyed a good Beth shading from time to time. So the jury seems to be impressed with Tara and Bray. And really, what it's implied, but not really said, because they definitely cut this segment down, is that whoever wins the final HOH is probably going to gain votes, which is not the best way. I think way too much emphasis is put on comp wins in modern Big Brother. Because look at early Big Brother. There are people that have won the game that won nothing. Dr. Will. You don't need to win competitions, and that shouldn't be the main factor of your game. You'll won Survivor without ever winning an immunity. These are things that we need to consider, because the winner should be the one who played the best game. And just because you've won a bunch of competitions doesn't mean you've played the best game. It can be a part of your winning resume, but it should definitely not be the deciding factor, in my opinion. Jed and Beth also, they don't want to give credit to Ty for Jed's blindside. And Keith says, hey, Ty was with me along that whole process. So, I have to give credit to Ty as well for that move. And so then everyone's like, well, maybe, it's Keith, if Ty's in the final two, Keith's going to vote for him because that solidifies the Sunsetters as a dominant force. I think if any of the Sunsetters are in the end without Kiefer was going to vote for them. I think that was always going to be the case. He's loyal to the soil until the soil wasn't loyal to him. And Ty's particular soil was loyal the whole way. Wow, it was a lot of rhyming in a row. They also, Arista gives a shout out to the people in the frontline workers who, have dealt with this pandemic. So they have like glowing hearts in the background and stuff. And again, lots of just great wholesome stuff here in this final two. Also, I love Tara's dress, by the way. Her dress looks great. Tara looks so adorable. And also, like when we head into the final HOH comp between Ty and Bray, and they do this really cool, like black and white comic book graphic, because obviously this is like what they didn't use for season 8 because it didn't finish. But it just looked so cool how the color, like the blue shone through, and then the color, came into play. And we had the panels with their names on them, comic style, with Arissa in the middle panel. It was fucking awesome. Great editing, grade A editing, BBCAN. And basically this final part of the HOH competition is like how well do you know the jury question and answer, with the answers being A or B. Ty, and it's close. It is neck and neck, but Ty ends up pulling ahead here. Ty is the final HOH, and we all know what he's going to do because it's what he said he was going to do for quite some time. So Ty chooses to evict Tara and take Bray so he can not only bring the person he's been working closest with these past few weeks, but also have this all African-American final two. A great way to end this season for him, and for a great moment for representation on television as a whole. So Tara is evicted. Bray and Ty are in the final two. One of them will go on to win $100,000 cash plus $10,000 in grills and grilling accessories, $10,000 sponsored by soap. It's a lot of extra stuff there. And also when Tara puts her mask on to leave, it goes from like here to like here. I'm like, why is your mask so big, Tara? Like, did they accidentally give you the wrong size? Like, I feel bad for her. It's like, it's like, can't hurt. It's like she's wearing like a whole front shield. But Tara seems to be a good sport about it. She's not, but great. I know she's not happy to be evicted, but it's kind of hard to be like a poor sport on finale night. It's the game's almost over. And I think she also knew that Ty wasn't going to take her. So we get to the jury questioning. Vic asks Ty if he, like she said, people keep telling me that you said you had me. And I thought he had a pretty good swerve of saying, look, I had you in that veto. I didn't really want you to go, but it's just not the way things shook out. I don't think that, you're in my pocket or anything. I thought that was a good, that was probably the only answer Ty gave that was pretty clear and concise. And I like that. Roe asked Braden, what did you do without Ty? Like, what was your move? Bray's like, listen, I had to pivot without Austin. So once Austin left, I had to, be on my own and figure out a new spot in the house, which is not an easy thing to do. And that's correct. And not a bad answer, but not a great answer. I would point more toward the Kiefer thing as well. Granted, Ty was a part of that, but Braden had a big part in that as well. Tina asks Ty, people say you're a third wheel to the triangle. Why is that incorrect? Ty's like, look, I used them as, people that were going to get the blood on their hands. I never went on the block. And once they were expendable, I pulled ahead of them. It's not a bad answer either, but this is where he starts to kind of talk about honesty and loyalty. And that's not what he had in his game. And he needs to be way more honest with it. Jed asks Bray, why didn't he take the shot at Keith instead and took a shot at Beth? And Braden has a great answer. He said, look, Beth thought she had me. She told everyone that she had me. I took out Beth to tell the jury that I play my own game. And if anyone thinks that they have me, they're going to be out the door because I choose what happens to my game. And I'm like, That's a really good response because, yeah, everyone's wondering, why didn't you make that big move? It was a big move for Braden's resume, necessarily, not just the whole game's resume. Knowing that someone else would take a shot at Keith as well was probably also a big part of it. So I liked that answer a lot. Beth asks Ty, you don't have my vote. Get it back. And Ty's like, listen, I was loyal to you until you weren't loyal to me. And, I was loyal to the soil. And I'm like, Ty, you weren't. You knew it was time to cut them and you cut them. That was it. Be honest about that. It's fine. It's Big Brother. You can say that. Be like, look, I had to do what I had to do to win. Because if I was sitting next to Jed, I would lose. Okay. Not only is that a good answer, but that feeds Jed's ego. So do that. Keith asks Bray why he should win. Bray talks about coming from behind and having to, whereas Ty was a little more comfortable throughout the game, Bray had to do a lot of work to maintain his position, which is correct. Tara asks Braden, the moment you knew you were a force in the house, and he said that's when he won his 3 comps in a row. And he did go on a little bit of a tear there, and that was, he definitely was. Everything was coming up Braden for a while. So the final moments here, Ty talks about, being grateful, which every time I hear that, I just think of Big Brother 21 and I flinch. That's why I hate Big Brother 21. They ruined the term grateful for me. Talks about how great it was for the diverse cast, and he made connections. He used the Sunsetters, the sauce, and basically when it was time to cut them, he cut them and pulled ahead and never touched the block. Braden says, I was underestimated. I had a great social game. I had to underplay myself because the low-key game was going to get me to the end, which is also a very great point. So we get some FaceTime moments with the pre-jury. Julie Vu for All Stars. I stan it. I think a lot of people online stan it. When, more All-Star seasons, like we had David in Big Brother 22, and he ended up not being that great. But Julie, I think, would be a great person to bring back for All-Stars because there's a lot of unlocked potential with her in the game. And I would love to see her on a future BBCAN All-Star season. So, production, please. Julie Vu for All-Stars. And LT has a pretty good slam on Beth, saying no one wanted to see her and Jed together. And that, if she was probably in the house, that probably she would have put a stop to that business. And when LT was talking about, keeping it loyal, Keith was like, yeah, loyalty. And I'm like, oh, okay, Kiefer, calm down. Like, it's cool. We also get a fight compilation and representation talk, and then we get the votes. And by a vote of 6-1, Tashawn is the winner of Big Brother Canada 9. Very good winner. We had someone who played hard the whole way through. Obviously, anyone in this final 4 could have won, and I'd have been fine. But Ty played hard the whole way through, and I think this tells Big Brother Canada 10, everyone play hard, but maybe don't play as sloppy. So I hope the Big Brother Canada 10 just comes in just fucking swinging, because BBCAN 9 was a blasty blast. And Keith wins, the very first Canada's favorite player and gets 10 grand. So, great. And the only person who voted for Bray was Tara, which I totally see because Tara and Bray were pretty close. I could see why she would give him her vote. But everyone else voted for Ty because Ty played the best game. Not that Bray didn't play a good game, but Ty, especially for what this season represents as a whole, Ty is a great winner of what Big Brother Canada 9 was. So it was great to see Ty pull out a win. I thought it was a great moment, great finale. Loved seeing him. Hey, I may not have picked the winner of the game, but I picked the winner of Canada's admiration. So I actually did something right, okay? And all in all, guys, Big Brother Canada 9 was fun. We had the only bad things about the season, as far as production went, like the competitions were great. It's just the final 5 fake twist wasn't, a little too late in the game to be putting twists in. I didn't really care for the team thing, but we tried something new. Probably won't do it again. So we tried it. I really enjoyed Big Brother Canada 9. We had great gameplay, great moments, great characters, a completely diverse cast, a great Final Four, a great winner. I couldn't ask for a better conclusion to a better season. And after, the past few years of Big Brother Canada, Big Brother mediocrity, I am very sad, and unfinished seasons. I am glad that we had this cap off this awesome season. So with that being said, that's it. We're done. No more Big Brother Canada for a while. And until Big Brother 23, we're going to be doing some BB Rewind stuff. So until then, guys, I'm Mac Taylor. Stay safe and stay nerdy.